Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the R6ANZ podcast. Audio is fixed edition. Today we have special guests, ChankaNewsNetwork. Hey, Chanka.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing, man?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
What time is it where you are, just for reference?
I think it's 10 past 9. Yep, 10 past 9.
AM?
Yeah, AM.
Well, thank you for waking up for us. Appreciate it.
No worries.
We also have Kabboose from the R6ANZ, who is server admin for there. Hello, Kabboose.
Hello. How are you?
Good. And we have our host, ChankaNewsNetwork.
Hi, guys.
We've got a little bit of a mixed bag today, kind of like an AMA style. You can, ask any questions in the chat. We'll try and get to them. And we're also going to be talking about a bunch of things, picking the brains of our two guests, and talking about whatever else comes to mind, really. So, Sky, how do you think we should start this off?
So I think we'll start off by talking to both Kabboose and Chanka about a little bit about how they're involved in the community. So I think I'll hand over to Cthulhu to talk to Chanka about how he's involved.
Alrighty, Chanka. With all of the recent events, how much of a you could say ability and perspective did you manage to get about the performance of the teams during the Brazil LAN?
I think the APAC teams got pretty bad seeds in terms of they were up against some titans. Penta is obviously 3 times world champion, and Font were the first ever Brazilian team in Pro League. So invitationals. So I think they came up against some good teams. I was told that R6ANZ had 2 subs. I don't know if that's... No? Okay.
It was actually the core R6ANZ roster that played there. They were only allowed 5 people to actually go. So we had Kabboose on, who's their sub/manager, and he wasn't even actually there.
Yeah, I know Kabboose wasn't there. But I think it's a good experience for him. I know R6ANZ weren't even top seed in Japan. So yeah. I don't know if Nora Rengo are the Ents of LAN, if you can still say that now. Ents of one. Yeah. But I think this was a good starter. Pojo made a tweet, and I've not checked if it's actually accurate, but he tweeted that APAC performed the same as NA performed last season. So, like, if any NA teams complain, then they can't complain because they did just as poorly. But I think with the invitationals, we're going to see a bit more from them, and then I think starting year 3 is when they'll be on a equal playing field.
Well, there were actually, when you were talking about the scores before, there were 2 5-0s at the Brazil LAN, and neither of them were against APAC teams. One of them was, I think, Ents against, was it Font? And then, it was Ents against BD, and then Ents against, it was Font or BD against Infamy.
Yeah, the games I was talking to Emzo about this yesterday because I interviewed him, and he was saying that there's this weird thing, and I noticed it at APAC LAN as well, where the first day was all 2-1s, and not for Brazil though. But then the second day it was like 2 zeros for APAC LAN, and then at Brazil, every game was 2-0 apart from Evil Genius's match. So that it was an odd one, but there was good matches. I'm hoping we see more invitationals. I'm hoping we'll get more teams, so I think that'll give them a better chance too.
Yeah. Well, the format of the invitational is something really interesting as well. Oh, you're going Cthulhu?
Yeah, and with the qualifiers for the invitational starting for the APAC, so who could join them potentially?
I think if Cryptic want to, I know they're having issues with one of them in the military, and then the rest of them are all in school. But I think if they went for it, I think they Norengo, as I said, they were top seed Japan, so really they should have a good chance. And when I interviewed Luna, he said that he thought that Father's Back would be taking top seed in Japan. So since he said that, I've always kind of kept an eye out for him. I think they finished third last season in season 3. So I mean, they may have a chance. I don't know. I think we'll probably see one of the ANZ teams. I'm not sure which one, because I still think it's pretty closely contested, and I haven't watched them play since the LAN.
Yeah.
That does regarding the ANZ teams, that is kind of interesting, because obviously there was a little bit of a shuffle since the APAC LAN. Emo Rin moved from Taboo to Atletico. And we had Rizraz moved from CVD over to Mindfreak. So Mindfreak, probably a lot of people would say Mindfreak's a lot stronger, and Atletico also a lot stronger than it was previously.
Yeah, I think it comes a lot down to synergy as well. So as long as they work well together, then I think that's one of the strong suits of Penta. Like that they actually listen to what each other is saying. I noticed that when I was watching Ainz play, where they'd like, it seems that there was a lack of communication with I think it was against, it must have been against Fonts, but on Bank, one of them jumped into open area through the window with the diffuser, died, and then someone jumped in straight away after him. And it seemed to be a miscommunication. Whereas Penta, I feel, because Pengu puts videos up with their comms, which is really helpful. And they actually listen to what each other is saying. And even when I play myself, I notice that's like a difficult thing to do, is actually listen when all the time to what people are saying. But I think if some of the teams can practice that, I don't think it's just aim ability. It's about, for LAN, if you get into LAN, you need to prep mentally, but it's also communication is probably the biggest factor.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair enough, I guess. Obviously, now that we've got an introduction from Chanka, we'll now move on over to Kabboose, who is obviously the head admin of R6ANZ. Obviously, we said hi to him before. I guess, sort of going off the exact same thing, I guess, what is your opinion on APAC and international, and the international teams in Pro League?
Oof. Well, I didn't get a chance to actually sit and watch the LAN yet, because it's way too late at night for me.
Yeah.
So I can't really say much on what's actually just happened, but for the APAC stuff, it's it would have been really nice to see sort of a homegrown team get in and compete, but having a spot for APAC was actually really nice as well. So I mean, good on what was it, Ainz and Mantis were the ones that actually made it, was it?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, so good on them, making it in there. But yeah, as for the rest of the teams, I mean, you're completely smashed it from what I heard.
I don't know. I think, Penta smashed Mantis pretty convincingly, but that said, I mean, a lot of people are kind of dismissing the APAC matches as being just, complete throttles, and that the APAC teams were destroyed. But, I mean, both of them took 1 round per map. And particularly with Ainz, there were a fair number of rounds which I would say are close, and then just some massive fatal mistakes.
Right.
And like you were saying, Chanka, before about jumping into that window out of open area on Bank, I reckon a lot of it comes down to the jitters and overcoming those jitters, because there were mistakes having a second person jump in. I'm sure that wasn't I died, but I'm not going to tell my teammate where I died from. It was probably there's one in there, you guys got to get him. And then this second guy going, but we need the diffuser. Yeah. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to jump in quickly, got the diffuser and get out. Oh, I'm dead as well.
Yeah.
It did feel that, they were either going for really hastily decisions, and they didn't have exact prep for these kind of scenarios. They just decided to improvise. And whereas I felt that defense had way more communication than their offense, and with offense they were trying to sometimes wing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't look pretty couple of times.
Yeah. Well, typically in Siege, offense is much more difficult than defense because you have to actually have an adaptable plan, and you have to be able to look at stuff and make calls mid-game and execute something that's a little bit more complicated than just kind of sit around and wait until the timer gets to 0.
Yeah.
I also wonder if the crowd affected Nines, because that was a very big and loud crowd.
Yeah.
So, and they, I mean, you could see with Penta, pretty sure they got booed, but they definitely weren't cheered.
Yeah.
And then Irons at the end, it was like a very slow and, which is understandable. I mean, their team lost, but I wonder if the crowd got into their head a bit.
Yeah, a bit of stage fright. That
Could be.
makes sense.
Well, this is a team who's only been to one really small LAN overseas, and then there's at least one LAN back in Japan for them. Going to a LAN with 1,000 people sitting in the crowd, yelling loudly in a foreign country that's nothing like where they're from.
Be very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was supposed to be really hot in there too, like very, very hot, so which probably
Maybe
helped
that,
out.
Well,
that was the as well.
well, the people from Finland didn't do too bad. The ENS players, it's pretty cold where they're from. Yeah, maybe that was it.
We actually have a question from Finn from the Twitch chat. But what do you guys think Penta did wrong against BD? Like, why? What caused that such a massive drop in performance for Penta, causing them to lose this kind of quickly to Black Dragons?
I think it was. I think they got overconfident with the beating Mantis. Because I think if Mantis drew a close game with Penta, then it would have been embarrassing for them. So I think because they won it, their mind was at ease, and then I think Black Dragons just used the momentum a lot more than Penta. I mean, Penta didn't have any momentum before going on because, as I said, the crowd were against them. And I think that threw them a little bit, and I think it was probably heat, and there was I don't know if they had connection issues, but I know there were connection issues, and I know like the computers that they were scrimming on behind the stages, I know they were all terrible. So I don't know if the LAN environment tilted them before the match, and then that played into it, or if it was anything else. But it's difficult with Penta because they don't have a solid strats. It's just it could be anything. It could just be that one person wasn't performing, or they weren't communicating properly, or they argued. I just think Black Dragons stepped out their game as well. I think Black Dragons did really well. I was surprised when they let ENS beat them as bad as they did in the end. I think Black Dragons are a very momentum-based team, and with the crowd on their side, they had that momentum going into it, and I think that helped them a lot.
Something about the momentum and the crowd that I thought was interesting is you could see that not only did the team's momentum die down when the team was one of the Brazilian teams was losing, but the entire crowd died down.
Yeah.
And as much as a crowd cheering for you is going to make you gain momentum, a crowd that goes completely silent probably going to have the opposite effect.
That's a really good point, actually. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
I think that having the crowd on your side is kind of like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it can get you into the momentum, but if you're losing, then it's this entire area of negativity. And even when you are winning, like, the pressure is right there. There's 1,000 people there cheering for you, and the bias is all on your side, and you've got to feel like you have to deliver that.
Yeah.
I guess now moving on, I guess we'll sort of talk about something a little bit more catered to Kabboose. Obviously, he said that he had missed some of the matches due to how ridiculously late they were for Australians. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about sort of what you do for R6ANZ, Kabboose.
Oof.
What's your job?
What is my job? Well, I mainly take orders from Jeebus, if that wasn't apparent. No, but I basically, my sole purpose is to just, where the moderators keep the community in line, I keep the moderators in line. So I sort of police the police in that sort of respect. Also act a bit of as sort of like an advisor to Jeebus, so he's not making like decisions just on his own. He's got like someone to bring him back down to earth in a way. So yeah, other than that, yeah, it's a little bit of work on the bot when I get time as well, but that's mainly Tobo's domain. God bless him, because server wouldn't be the same without that bot. So yeah, other than that, yeah, just day-to-day stuff, making sure it's running smoothly. Yeah.
So we've recently had some changes within the server. Can you talk about everything that's been happening with that?
Yes. So we had a bit of a discussion with some of the mod team, as well as some input from our community staff, including you, Dev. Thank you. We had quite a bit of a proposal from you for the role changes, which we all love. So basically, we wanted to focus a bit more with our staff. So the mods are modding, the CG admins CG adminning, ESL peeps are doing ESL stuff. So you undoubtedly would have noticed Beerscotch is no longer a mod. Regrettably, because he was one of the good ones, but we just wanted him to focus on CG. It was taking a bit of his time, so that's same goes for Hawk. He was definitely in admin chat. You could start to see his stress levels start to go a bit high because of the ESL stuff. So yeah, we just wanted to get things focused, as well as with the channels as well. We wanted to sort of have the channels have a bit more focus as well, and the categories a little less populated, so you can sort of collapse the categories as you see fit, but still like see the stuff you want to see, basically. So yeah.
Where do you kind of see the server going in the near and far future, like plans or ways to implement new things, or as preparation for an expansion?
So we'd like to start recruiting more people in the staff, mainly for these focused roles. So we'd like to actually have sort of events going on on a regular schedule. We want the stream to be up almost 7 days a week. And yeah, we just want to keep giving back to the community. We're getting tons of donations, which is really nice. Now we just need to put the donations to good use. Currently they're just sitting in a bank account, but yeah, we want to get some tournaments going. We want to get some sort of small little events going and little community games and whatnot, just to liven it up a bit and keep you guys interested. So
on that note, I just have a question, like based on what you were saying about wanting to get more people involved. If there was someone watching right now, or like I actually had someone asking me today, do you want to give back to the community as someone who's not a member of the staff, just someone who's enthusiastic about Siege and a participant in the community? What do you need to do in order to get involved?
Well, I mean, we've got the requests and feedback channel in Discord. People like to use it for requests quite often, but we hardly ever get feedback, which is, I mean, it might be a good thing. Maybe we're doing everything right, but it would be nice if people, besides meme channels, guys, no meme channel, not happening ever. But yeah, it would be nice to get your opinions on, like, if you come up with a great idea, like a really cool tournament idea or something, just chuck it at us and we'll maybe work something out together and get your name on it, whatnot. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be staff to be involved, basically.
Yeah, we'll be able to work it out.
And if you want to be staff, I mean, you can always PM me if you've got, especially events and things like that, if you've got a really nice portfolio and organizing events, yeah, we definitely need one of those. Been looking into trying to get someone to do that, but yeah, we are looking for people. So yeah, don't be shy. Send me a PM. I'll get back to you eventually. So yeah.
All right.
Guess that's fair enough. Let me turn off my alarm quickly. Alright, so I guess moving on, obviously now we've got a little bit of insight from Chunka News about sort of this, I guess, a wider perspective of Siege, the LAN finals, Pro League and all that good stuff, and now we've obviously just talked to Kabboose about R6ANZ and sort of what he does, what's going to happen for R6ANZ in the near and far future. So I guess moving forward, something that I would like to personally say is we were on the topic of donations before, and recently you might have seen an announcement earlier today from Jeebus pretty much thanking Legend 27 for his big donation to the R6ANZ community. So I just wanted to acknowledge his name on stream. Obviously, a lot of the tournaments you guys play in, well, there's not a lot of them, but for example, the R6ANZ community tournament, that was funded by obviously some other people, but a lot of it was from him. And coming up, I think we're looking, or Jeebus was saying possibly sort of after Christmas, in those sort of months, we are looking to possibly host another sort of league tournament type thing.
That sounds awesome.
Definitely thanks to anyone who donates any amount of money. But yeah, Legend 27 or
I love Valk.
It used to go by I love Valk. Yeah, that guy is so good.
He's a legend.
He's
No
a
doubt.
legend, as they'd say.
Yeah.
He's truly the Legend 27.
He came to me specifically asking, hey, if I had some money to fund a tournament, could you organize it for me? And so obviously, like, he's someone who just really wants to see the community grow. And I was like, someone else came to me today saying, oh, I love this community, I want to make stuff happen. And if the way that you could do that is by contacting people, getting them amped about some kind of tournament and funding it. I mean, we don't expect anyone to give donations, but if that's your part, then we really appreciate that. If your part is coming up and saying, hey, you know what, I know a bit about how to run brackets, so I know a little bit of coding and I could make a system that does some, organizes a bracket for a tournament, or I know how to run a league, I could run a small league, or I'm just a community person who's really enthusiastic, what can I do to help? There's like so many things that you can do, and you don't have to be a staff, like you said, Kabboose. You don't have to be a member of staff to have your input and give back to the community.
Yeah. Even just coming and watching the streams, it helps a lot. You'd be surprised. So yeah.
Joining in the Recruit Challenge that Monkey has been organising. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it last week, but it looks like so much fun doing some tactical realism 5v5 recruits. Doing the R6 TMs casted on our channel as well is great.
Yeah, the Recruit Challenge, I'm so glad they're back. They're so fun to watch.
It was like with a bit of a background to it. It was initially led by one of our moderators who now stepped down from the moderator role, Derplord, and it did actually have a proper a prize, as in like a cup that was made also by him, and was quite a prestigious award as well. I'd like to add up to that. And if I would have known where was the picture, I would have gladly shared it to the stream as well. Very glorious. Well,
if you find it, Cthulhu, PM it to me and I'll put it on the stream. So one other aspect of kind of the community that I know Kabboose and the whole staff has been looking at expanding is content creation. We have a lot of content on the stream, and we have a GFX team led by Hawk, but I mean, there's all kinds of other kinds of content and events that we can have. Chanka, as a content creator, what do you see as from a content creator's perspective? What kind of content can you see being useful in a community?
I think something that Siege isn't doing very well. This is just more for the pro players rather than the community side. Though is like you don't find out much about them other than watching them on Twitch. Like I don't know how successful it would be, but like a lot of pros in other games have like vlog channels and stuff, and it's like quite a good way for fan interaction and to keep people interested, and also to earn like extra money off the ad revenue and stuff. So that could be one thing. For the community, I think there's a lot. I think the podcast is a really good thing. I don't know if you could add to that at all. But I think what you're doing now is pretty solid, to be honest. Maybe more YouTube stuff. Probably be the only thing I'd say.
We have a couple of YouTubers in the community, people like Aces from Mindfreak, Shifty, obviously, from Atletico with his infamous memes, our own home brand Pojo Man.
Shifty.
I mean, he's been on the stream before. We always got to shout out Shifty. So, like, maybe it's some way of getting community content creators involved, and just keeping things going, cross promotion. I know that's something that we've talked a little bit about with the community stuff. Is having a look at, so for example, the PUBG Oceania server has a way of advertising streamers in the community at the top of their Discord on the right hand side where you see the users, and they have a bot that automates the system of giving people this role that pushes them to the top as soon as they're streaming PUBG. And so we talked about trying to implement a similar sort of system, other kinds of things that aren't necessarily part of the staff, but ways that adding to the community and giving a kind of cross promotion with content creators in the community.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean that bot functionality is actually coming in very soon.
Ooh, so, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spill the beans.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Yeah, we're just waiting on actually go. Yeah, a little bit of background stuff to sort of get out of the way first, but yeah, it's coming. It's definitely coming. So yeah, we are making a step towards that sort of highlighting community creators we'd like to.
There are a lot of streamers in the community that sometimes you don't really realize are streaming. I've started following some more of the community members. I noticed today, Kings from Mindfreak was live. We were hosting Noodle just before the stream went live. Noodle from Medusa. I know Kaza also streams. We have so many streamers in the community that I just don't realize, because, I mean, on YouTube, I get people recommended channels and recommended videos coming up for things that are similar to what I watch, but I don't use Twitch in that capacity so much, and the Discord is the centralized place, the centralized server, and having streamers come up there I think would be really good overall, and also then new users coming into the server, seeing streamers and knowing where to look for new content and local content. Something that I think on that topic of new users, what is it that kind of what is a method of getting new users interested, joining, and then staying and participating in the community? And I mean, obviously this is kind of directed at Kabboose, but I also want to hear Chanka's input, because obviously, I mean, you're not in the R6ANZ, you're not geographically located in R6ANZ. So how did you, like, let's do this half first, and then we'll move on to the other bit. How did you kind of join the community and become involved? And how do you see other people doing that as well?
So I had a friend that watched that ANZ games like a week or two before APAC got added to the Pro League. So I knew about it then, and I watched a few games. And then once they got added, that was like, okay, it's like I'm in. I think I joined the Discord just before you got added, but I'm not sure. But I think R6ANZ has a very unique position with what you have is like, as far as I'm aware, no other region has anything like this. It's very, like, I think it's something that other regions should be striving for, especially NA, because NA is a very quiet scene. So you've got the podcast, you've got your own Discord server, you've got these events, like it's very well run, and I think that's something that always is going to interest people. I mean, the bot counts the users that join every day, and you do pretty well. So it's just keep up appearances, really. I think that's the part that's just going to keep new people coming in. Just keep grinding on it. The viewing party we had for LAN, that was, I imagine, I mean, I don't know, you guys might be able to tell me, but I would imagine that probably brought in a few people, because that viewing party was great. So I'm sure people wanted more from where that came from.
Yeah. That viewing party was absolutely amazing. I had a lot of fun there.
Sky, why don't you tell us a little bit about what that was? I mean, it was you, myself, and Finster that was the creators of that. Tell everyone who doesn't know really about it, because I mean, it was great and successful, but it could have even been even bigger, and we've got plans for the future with it as well.
Yep. So pretty much, I think it was like the Wednesday or Thursday before. It was like the Wednesday or Thursday before LAN, and I was just sitting there like 8 p.m. And then I just came up with the idea. I was like, that'd be cool. So I made a Discord server and started like getting a really rough layout set up, and then I was like, Dev, you want to hop on this project with me? He ended up hopping on, and then we sort of worked on that, and after a while Dev came up with the idea to incorporate the R6 Pro League mods into it, because they have a lot of experience with obviously advertising and also setting up Discord servers. So Fitness to Mac helped us sort of get it really set up and looking professional, and then we released it, and we got a decent amount of people in the server for like how long? I think we got like, it's like 150, 140 people, and then we had like 25 people or something at one stage in the viewing party, which is pretty awesome. And it was really cool to sort of sit in there with the community and sort of I don't know, it's just cool. It's almost like you're at a sports game, right? Where there's like a big crowd. It's like when someone makes a big play, everyone's going wild. And it's like when I remember when Irons got their first kill, everyone went wild. It was a really good time, and I really enjoyed that. But on that note, I'm gonna chuck over to Cthulhu now to talk about communities, I believe.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to add up to what was Chanka mentioning about the different regions for communities wise. I did go digging around the EU and especially the Russia and CIS region, and I actually ended up finding the two Discords that they have, which didn't make really much sense. But their main Discord is kind of the studio's Discord that has the allowance for the broadcasting and stuff, but they don't apparently have a whole lot of casters nor the experience with what they have. So yeah, I do also want to join up on the fact that almost all of the regions actually need to start, well, not start, or at least try to strive for the amount of just support for the players, I guess, that at the very least the ANZ region has at this very moment.
I think it would be great to see, like Chanka said, see it expanded into NA.
Yeah, NA will be really good.
I mean, NA has had
NA,
yeah?
I think they need it with they only have Pro League LAN, and then that's it. Whereas every other region, even APAC, has more LANs than NA. Wow.
Something that was started by, I think, mostly people from NA was the R6TM server, which I think we've plugged before, but it's fantastic server for creating 10-man's pugs and just finding people with you in your region. Obviously, it's international, which is why we're so involved in it. Every night I see there's people from ANZ playing on there, and I think the people who are taking the initiative and making that, the North Americans who are doing that, maybe I might actually chuck a message now that I know Emzo and a couple of other people. I might actually send them a message and see if they're interested in kind of starting up a bit more of a hub, kind of like R6ANZ, and then, you know, I think it's a slow process, but could definitely grow to the stage of, you know, creating our own events like we've got for NA. And I think it would also maybe tie the community a little bit tighter as well. I don't want to kind of take shots or anything, but I've heard a lot of people say that NA is one of the more broken communities just in terms of player relations and stuff. Like, I don't want to go through any terms about and stuff, but like, you know, people have talked about the infamous NA shuffle between Pro League LANs, and I mean, there are some fantastic, you know, players and stuff, and I mean, I've played on the NA servers as well and met some people, but I think that tying all the community together in some format and associating it with the esports could not only get a lot more people from ranked into comp, but then also, as a result of that, expand the comp scene. And overall, it's just healthy for the entire community, because you get more players into Pro League, and then you get better players, and you get better teams, and then you get more victories. And I'm sure NA would love to be taking some of these wins, especially coming up to Invitational. I'm sure Evil Genius have their eyes on that prize after taking it for last year.
And I think now's the time to build things like that, because I think with year 3, we're going to start seeing bigger orgs coming in.
Mm-hmm. It's NA that's been taking the bigger orgs so far with Evil Geniuses and Rogue.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to change that. Because SK tweeted today in I think it was in Portuguese, so we could see Brazil coming with some big ones. But I know I don't know which orgs, but I know there's bigger orgs coming for invitationals, depending on who makes it in. So now is definitely the time to start getting the brickwork done in preparation for the. Because I know this LAN that's just gone had 120,000 concurrent viewers, and invitationals is going to be even bigger than that. So it's definitely time.
Yeah, certainly. And I think on that note, we are going to end this podcast for tonight. Obviously, a little bit of a shorter episode, but I think that we've sort of discussed everything that needs to be talked about. So yeah, obviously, big thank you to everyone for tuning in, and a big thank you to our guests, Kabboose and ChankaNewsNetwork.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
And obviously, big thank you to also Devmada and Cthulhu, who have been my fellow hosts on this show, on this podcast.
Thank you as well.
It's been good as always.
Good fun. Thanks, guys.
I have to agree.
Yeah, I'm glad we talked about everything that we talked about, and we've got some stuff coming up in future weeks, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully getting some more international guests on. Really keen to get all the different opinions and people's thoughts, even controversial ones. So get hyped for that. But we're going to close it out for the night, guys. So, catch you next time. Thanks for joining in.
See you guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
You